everybody. Thank you for joining. I'm so excited to know that you're all here. I was going to say see you, but well. I am really excited about today's guest. I know I say this every week, but I'll tell you why. It's because we've got really cool guests all the time. Kentwood has a wonderful group of actors, designers, directors, crew, and today is no different. So let's get through these announcements super quick. I hope you all were able to catch Holly Siddell's show, her one-woman show. That was today. If you didn't, reach out to us and we'll see what we can do because I'm sure there's going to be an encore. Also, on the 13th, do not forget that Torrance Theater is doing Driving Miss Daisy in their Play at Home series. And Miss Catherine Rahm is playing Miss Daisy. So you know that is going to be an awesome performance. So you definitely tune into that on the 13th. Also, don't forget Grace Rector, who is one of our Kentwood kids. You can pre-order her book now. She wrote a book about her mom and her and the life lessons that Pam left her with and left all of us with. So make sure and pre-order that book right now. And if you want more information on that, visit our Facebook page. We'll make sure it is posted. And then also today, we are going to meet with the artistic director of Infinite Jest Theater because on the 12th, 12/12, that's super easy for you to remember, we have a very special event where we are doing Hamlet. But not any Hamlet. It is the inaugural Shakespeare Telethon. And I have the title here. Clowning Around with Shakespeare, where you control the hijinks tonight, the whole ham. Let's find out what in the world this is all about. So I'm going to bring on my dear friend and colleague, Miss Collette Rutherford. Hi. I always feel so weird because it's so quiet and I'm like clapping and I want to be cheering. We can't hear everybody. But I know that they're there virtually. I hear my mom clapping. So
that's all that counts.
That's all that counts. Collette, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, although the dog might beg to differ.
That's okay. Phoebe can be a part of this as well if she wants. Sometimes we have cats, so it's fine. Yay. So I'm excited. Our Kentwood members remember you as the villainous Mrs. Cheveley.
Yes.
Which was fantastic. And that was when I had the pleasure of meeting you and working with you. But I want to know a little bit more about your life. So will you please share with us a brief history of Collette?
Sure. I was born on the side of a hill.
Okay.
I am originally from the Chicago area and went to high school and college in North Carolina before I moved out here to Los Angeles. It was actually 10 years ago this fall, exactly. Oh, wow. So lived a little bit of everywhere in this country.
And how did you get started in theater?
Like a lot of kids, I did a couple elementary school and like church plays, and then in high school I just decided that I really wanted to do theater and I was all in, and that's pretty much the end of that.
I love that. Yes, school, camps, all of that bring us together, bring us into the wonderful world of theater. So why did it stick?
I don't know. I've always been creative in a variety of ways. So, but not necessarily ones that have stuck or they're things that I flip back and forth to. Sorry, that's Phoebe nesting in some paper for all of you going, is that static or interference? No, that's my dog that thinks she's a cat.
That's okay. I've got the cat over here clawing at me and meowing now, so they want to be friends.
World we live in now. Yeah, I think there's a variety of different ways to interact in theater, and it's ever changing because you go from project to project. So there's always something new and stimulating and exciting about it. So in addition to finding a group of artists that it many times feel like your family and certainly often become your friends, it's that fact, I think, that it always changes and you can always find something new to challenge yourself with or learn, or you can participate in it rather in such a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
That's
And
very, very all-encompassing, like art.
absolutely, absolutely. And so you wear many hats when you're doing this.
That's a nice way to put it.
Did you was this based on necessity? Did you study other aspects of theater? Did you work on crews or behind the set? Or...
Yeah, yes and no. In high school, I really did do just about like anything. When I went to college, I made a very conscious decision that I just wanted to act, and I focused on acting. I was a double major, strangely enough, in zoology and in
Oh
theater. And so I
wow.
took all of the core theater courses, like stagecraft and lighting and makeup and all of that stuff. But I did not, unless I had to go do something for technical hours, like work in the costume shop or
Mm-hmm.
paint sets. I didn't do any technical stuff backstage. I only acted.
Wow.
And that stayed pretty true. I mean, even after I graduated college, that largely stayed true. I would volunteer as an usher or a house manager, or I would help, plan like opening night parties or that kind of thing. If there was a work day called and I had time to go paint sets, I would certainly like volunteer in that aspect. But no, I did not start wearing the many hats again until I founded Infinite Jest. And then that's, of course, necessity.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So talk to us about that. So you came out here to California. Were you like, let me go start a theater company in Los Angeles?
Of course
Said
not.
no one ever.
I mean, I didn't move out here to be an actor. That's always something that people like assume. I moved out here because I loved Los Angeles and Southern California and had wanted to live here. And I had been acting consistently, and getting paid and doing film and commercial and theater and all different kinds of stuff back in North Carolina because there's so many opportunities there. But I felt like I needed a new challenge, and I really wanted to go back to big city life, or even bigger city life than I'd ever
Yeah.
had, and move somewhere I'd always wanted to be. So it was more that it was just the right time, and I wanted to do something new and be challenged and learn. And then I was out here for a couple of years. And obviously, the Los Angeles theater scene, as everyone will tell you, is vastly different than
Yes.
it is from New
Yes.
York or Chicago or any other regional area in the country, because of the way things are structured.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, as an actor and as a patron, I just felt like I needed the next step for me was strangely to turn to directing, and found my own theater company.
Wow.
Like you did.
As one does. So so I'm really super interested in how that actually came about. I mean, you're saying that you were just inspired to, but how does it come about where you delve in, and why all comedy all the time?
Well, all comedy was partly inspired by the fact that a friend and I had just gone and seen a classic Kaufman and Hart comedy in which the timing was very wrong. Like, it would have been so much funnier if the beats and the timing had been there. And we sat there drinking beers at the bar afterwards, lamenting that it wasn't, because Kaufman and Hart are so funny when done well. And one of the things that we talked about was the fact that with all of the sketch and all of the improv, Los Angeles didn't have an all comedic theater company. There's all kinds of Shakespeare and classical companies. There's companies that focus on works. There's Latinx companies, and there's like the East West Players where it's Asian. There's all these different types of theaters, but there just strangely wasn't an all comedic theater company, and I really love comedy. So it was in part, if I was going to found a theater company, like have a niche, right?
Right.
So,
right.
It came about a few different ways. I had joined the year previously a new theater company that this guy had founded that never materialized, because when it came to actually producing theater, that wasn't what he was in for. He wanted to get together weekly and play theater games. And strangely, a couple of us who stuck around with that were a little bit frustrated with that dynamic, and just talking about it like that. And I think also, you as an actor, you get told a lot out here, particularly by casting directors: create your own content, make a web series. And I was like, well, I don't really know much about making a web series, but I do know something about making theater. So why not take control and create my own content? Little did I know. Yeah.
And this was, how many years ago was this when you started Infinite Jest?
Well, Infinite Jest's first full production was in January into February of 2014. So it's coming up on 6 years. Wow. Prior to that, we did do a couple like readings, workshop, and obviously like I had to go through all of the figuring things out, putting up the social media stuff, pulling all the different things together, creating bylaws and all of that kind of thing. But the first official full production was almost 6 years ago now.
Wow. That time has flown, because that's just before we did An Ideal Husband, which is crazy to me. I think when people start a theater company, they're like, we like to put on shows. How hard can this be? And then
that wasn't the way I thought about it.
No. Then you find out it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Even going in, like, knowing that it was going to be a lot, and knowing that I was going to have to take on roles that didn't necessarily spark me with the same joy as like acting and directing do. It's still admittedly been a lot. As much as I love it, there's also times when I'm like, what am I doing?
I also was very surprised when you first told me that there was not previously, it was not an all comedy theater company in Los Angeles. I thought this city is a theater town, which I didn't know before I moved here, with 9,000 theater companies.
Yeah.
What's going on? That's crazy. What is your favorite type of comedy? What are your favorite types of playwrights and pieces you'd like to do?
I think that, well, my love of comedy is typically a lot. Like, I love things that are very fast and very witty. So like Noel Coward or Kaufman and Hart and that kind of thing, which, if you know me well, probably isn't surprising, because that's where my sense of humor lies. But I also find, like, one of the things that we've talked about as company members behind the scenes is that you can do things with comedy that don't seem like you're preaching, but it can bring a social awareness to things while making people laugh. And I really love that aspect of it too. In truth, I love so many different types of all plays, all genres. I love good Black comedy. Sometimes really fun slapstick and slamming door farces is completely the way to go. So it just depends. There's something I think we all find with our projects, that a play, just you read it and it speaks to you, or you see it and you really connect with it, and that's what you want to do. So
all right. So speaking of that, how do you go about choosing pieces for the theater company?
Well, we have a couple different ways we go about. Mostly it's founded in the idea that any member can, suggest a play or two plays, or I think at one point we did three plays, and then we realized there's too many of everybody suggesting three plays
Right.
that they really want to do for some reason or another. Maybe they just really love the play. Maybe they want to act in it. Maybe they want to direct it. Maybe they want the chance to do the design. And we put all of those in a folder, and then we're all supposed to read them and pick. And I take the considerations for who wants to do what, and budget, and when we can find a place to rent, and the time of year. And out of that, I smush it together to make this a logarithm that probably only makes sense to me. And that's how we pick ultimately. I will also say we do have a new works development program, the Coffee Clutch, that we use to workshop new unproduced plays for people. And any play that's been produced in that can be nominated by a company member for a full production as well. No one has done that yet, although we've had some really great plays. But that is also another way that a play could be considered.
Well, I have to say, there are two one from the new works that we're doing now that I just did with Ken Levine.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that I was like, I want to see this for real. I want to, I want the full production of this. They're so fun. And
with the Alliance of Los Angeles Playwrights reading series that we just did, yes, Guilty Pleasures. I think we were all in agreement that seeing that Ken Levine piece on stage would be a lot of fun. And it is reminiscent of Noel Coward. He very pointedly, that's woven throughout the entire show. So you know exactly one of his key inspirations for that piece. And it was a lot of fun to read, to watch, to be a part of. Yeah, we definitely all fell in love with that one.
For sure. And it's really fun to do a new piece where you're just taking it on, and there's nothing a mold you're trying to fit into that happened before, because you're creating the mold. Yeah. So yeah. I really love that you do that, and I've been very entertained by all the pieces that we've seen in some form or fashion. Even if they discover they need more tweaking or whatever the authors think, or whatever. That's the
point of a workshop anyway. It's just so they can see it and hear it and go, oh, that timing doesn't work, or oh, I need to change this line. And sometimes we work with such great actors that, I mean, we've truly had playwrights like Ali Costa come in and watch what we do with our stuff in new works and say to the actors, oh, I like the way you said it better. I'm going to make that change.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's so great. I love it. And then how exciting that to be the company that produces something for the first time.
Yeah. I think part of the reason why a lot of people here in LA do it, that, and there's so many, screenwriters who are also writing plays, and it's very easy to constantly get submissions. But there's a fun and an excitement and a different sort of challenge to it, and it is nice to do. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Like, do you prefer doing more contemporary stuff or more classical stuff? Because I feel like I've done, even though we're talking about Noel Coward, I feel like I've done mostly classical with you, and I go, is that because I love it and so I'm gravitating to that, or is that because also you love it?
I don't actually love classic more than I love modern, or vice versa. I tend to be very much go through phases, right? So right now, because we've been working on clowning around with Shakespeare and I've been looking at Hamlet for months, I'm all like, oh yeah, my love of Shakespeare that I'd forgotten. I really forgot it, but when you haven't worked on it in a while, it feels like it's all somehow new again. But I read plays constantly, and most of what I read now is actually all contemporary plays. So I have stacks of plays that have been published in the last, say, 5 to 10 years that I'm like, yes, let's do this one. Let's do this one.
Wonderful.
So it just depends. And as you know, there's also a couple on my list for classics that I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. So just, depends on which way the wind is blowing, I suppose.
I have to say, you and Branda you both keep me looking at modern stuff because I will go down that rabbit hole. I'm like we did that reading in Private Lives, and I was like, we have to do Private Lives on stage for real. I want to do everything. Anytime I hear you start to think maybe you might be interested in doing Shakespeare, I'm like, yes, let's do it. So I mean, obviously I directed you My Ideal Husband. I am all about that, but both of you have kept me going, oh, right, people are writing stuff now, and it's quite good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's so many great new plays that I just constantly, like all the time, and it's impossible. It's one of those reasons, or it's one of those situations that makes me wish that like there could be three of me just to have three of me reading plays simultaneously, like all the time, because I'm never going to read everything that's on my Amazon wish list for plays.
It's never going to happen.
No, it's never going to happen, and my bookcase is already like overflowing. So
is that how you find new works, or do you see something and get inspired and say, let me read everything from that playwright? Or how do you find plays to read?
Sometimes, well, I see a lot of plays also. So sometimes if I see something by a playwright, then I will like order the script because I want to read it. And if I really like it, then I might order something else, or it just may work out that the way I find that script is in a collection of, 3, 4, 5 plays, and then I'll just read the whole collection. Sometimes it's because I'll see something on like Playbill that'll be talking about this play, and I go, oh, that sounds really interesting, and I'll get it to read it. Sometimes it's because one of the things I've never really stopped doing is taking classes, acting classes, or different, script analysis, or just different things. This summer, like I took a Unlocking the Director's Imagination with Rutherford College and Irina Brown out of England. So that always exposes you to new plays, because if the instructor comes in and is like, I want you to do a scene from this, and you're like, I've never read that play, well, then you got to read that play.
Right.
So it's, I mean, I really find them just everywhere, I suppose. And then if I do, like I said, see something or hear about something and I read the one, I will sometimes, like the next time that playwright has a play come out, or I'm looking specifically for a certain type of play, I might go and then grab some more of their stuff.
Yeah. I used to head to the library. The library used to be one of my favorite places to go. And I would just walk down, and then I would just grab something off the shelf and just start. And if it intrigued me, then I would sit down. And I would go down the rabbit hole with a playwright where I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this playwright. I'm reading everything they've ever written.
Yeah.
And sometimes you learn why they had the one hit. And sometimes you're like, why have I not done all of these shows? So.
Yes. Yeah, it could go either way.
It can go either way. That's right. I love that. So before we get started in this telethon and what we're doing with it, why theater? We're in a film and TV town. Why theater? Why do we need live theater?
Well, there's all kinds of, scientific research into things like why we need the arts, the community it builds, the things it does for children's brains and their social skills and their intellectual abilities. It's just part of creating a well-rounded, empathetic society. For me, I ask myself that question all the time. Why are you making theater in Los Angeles? There'd have to be easier ways to go about it. I mean, Los Angeles is a huge, vibrant, dynamic community, and there's certainly like tons of theater here, and there's tons of theater here for a lot of reasons, and part of that again is the sense of community. You can't hardly work on a production without some actor that says, "Oh, I miss my theater family from back home."
Yeah.
And as we've all been doing things online with staged readings and working on this clowning around with Shakespeare telethon, we've all said the same thing over and over. It's not the same. We want to be in a theater, sharing the space, breathing the same air, sometimes breathing in sync with each other.
Right.
There's something about bringing the artists and the audience together for those moments, right? Because each performance is completely different from the next.
Yeah.
That there's something for us that really holds some magic and some beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's something that's transcendent about the experience that actors share. Everyone shares in collaborating to make this, and then when you add in that final character of the audience, there's something so special about having that real-time interaction where you're getting that feedback and you're sharing this. Man, when you said breathing together, I mean, that happens. Like, you feel that.
Oh yeah.
I was just saying the other day to our other co-producer, Melody, partner in crime here, of our show we're about to talk about. I was just saying it's one of the things that I'm finding so difficult in doing these virtual productions, because I don't feel the connection with the audience. Mm-hmm. I do like that we get the little chats sometimes, and I know Miss Shari Barrett loves to chat us up when we're doing these shows, and I love it. I love going on there in character sometimes, even if I have an opportunity, and chatting, and because I feel there's that same interaction, because it's the thing that's missing.
Yeah.
And when you're doing a show and there's that moment of discovery for the character, and you hear the audience member go, "Oh, she gets it," or "she's figured it out," or whatever, it's like, it's very rewarding.
No, I mean, even like playing Mrs. Cheveley, right, in An Ideal Husband for Kentwood, there were nights, you'd hear the audience go, "Oh," about whatever like I was doing.
Yeah.
Or like, clearly when I was trying to seduce whoever, that like, oh, like, they're just thinking, "You hussy."
Yes,
you can
exactly.
hear them. They're not actually saying it out loud, but just the way they breathe, like, that's what they were thinking.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I love it. And there is, I mean, everything that you're talking about, this just, you can feel the culture of it in a community that embraces the arts. Mm-hmm. There's an empathy in everything that you're saying. We have to come back. So let's talk about what we're doing, this telethon that we're doing, so that Infinite Jest can come back when we get out of this apocalypse.
Well, I mean, Infinite Jest will be back. This will just help us be more secure in that return, right? So should we start a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which was August?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Sam and I are actually part of another group, and for whatever reason that night at our meeting, the meeting got canceled, but we decided, Samantha and I and one of our other producers for this event, Natalie Ryko, that we were still going to get on and chat. Like, it was just going to be fun. We were going to have a talk, and in having this lovely chatty talk, Samantha says, "Oh yeah, I had this idea." And the idea was this clowning around with Shakespeare telethon, where we let the audience donate for the silly circumstances they want to see the characters perform a dark Shakespearean tragedy under, which is why it fits into the comedy paradigm. And Natalie and I were both like, "This is genius. This sounds like excellent fun. Let's do this." And that began the roller coaster that has been the last 3+ months in executing this and choosing the beloved Hamlet to turn on its ear. Poor Shakespeare.
No, I think, you know what? I think he's loving this. I think, honestly, He's going, "Why didn't I think of this?" And I'm going, well, because you didn't have Groucho Marx classes and clown noses. Not the way we
Nope.
do.
Nope.
Uh, yes. So I'm excited to see this production play out. I am at the point now too where I'm like, oh, now I'm kind of bummed I'm emceeing it because I can't just sit back, watch, and make the actors do crazy things. I actually have to work.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, you and Melody, you're gonna have to be on your toes as the MCs and not able to completely laugh at all of the hijinks. Which so far in rehearsal, it's been great fun to get a taste of that. The poor actors.
Yeah. Well, they're
they
doing,
are going to be prepared for all of the things we're letting the audience ask of them.
Yes, they're doing a wonderful job playing around and doing their improving. So for the audience, so that you know, on the 12th, this craziness we're talking about, audience members will be able to bid via Venmo.
Exactly.
And we have a whole menu of items for you to choose from. And it could be like an actor, pick your actor, has to do their next scene in a clown nose, or with a French accent, or the entire scene is done as a Western, or you can layer all of them on top of each other.
Exactly.
Which I'm really excited about as we get going. And also there's a drinking game, which last night we were having fun writing some of the rules for that. I'm really excited about some of the things that you have to do.
Did you go with Hamlet or My Lord?
What's that?
Did you go with Hamlet or My Lord, or are you going with a circumstance?
All of the above.
Okay.
We've got a few different playings out. We've got here, I'll let you all in on this one. We've got if somebody chooses the bid where the actors have to incorporate a word, the word, not the other words, which I'm not giving away, but the word of the scene, like flabbergasted or, supercalifragilistic, that's not on there, I'm kidding, but flabbergasted, something like that. Then you have to drink when they finally work it in, stuff like that. So it'll be fun. I've got my sparkling water already. Yeah, so I think this is a hoot. I think that we're really pushing actors to stretch their improv muscles, which is fun. As an actor, I think it's fun. I don't think any actor agreed to do this who does not enjoy stretching their improv muscles.
Yeah. Well, I would hope not.
unless you tricked some of them and were like, we're doing a totally straight, serious, wonderful production of Hamlet. You're going to love it.
Not even a little close. Not even a little close. They all knew they were getting in for the improv. I think, and then there's, of course, the reality of like, oh, yeah, now we have to do the improv. But they're prepared. They're ready at this point. Yeah.
What do you think is the secret key, secret ingredient for the actors what's your best advice to give to them going into something where they don't know what's going to happen?
Wow, it sounds really cliche. I don't want to say prepare for the unexpected because that makes it seem like bad, crazy things are going to happen, or that we're somehow going to give them something wildly inappropriate to do.
Right.
Which isn't the case.
No.
I think the biggest thing is just to have a faith in their abilities and their skills, because the cast is wildly talented as actors and as we're seeing as improvers in rehearsals. So just to believe in themselves so that they relax and have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I've told them all along, if your dog barks or your cat walks across the screen, all part of the evening's fun. Like, don't worry about it.
Use it.
Use it. Yeah, exactly.
That is so great. I feel like that is great advice just in general, is to
Yeah.
trust in your work, trust in what you do, and then let it go and have fun. Interestingly enough, just today I was, Melody just commented on, woohoo, I'll be there. I'm so glad.
Thanks. She's
I,
only one of the two MCs for the evening, so it's nice she's going to make an appearance.
I've been rehearsing without you, and it's painful. Yes, thank you. Um, well, I was just having this conversation today about the skills of improv, and I think some people think about improv as being like Saturday Night Live, or going to see an improv show where they're doing fun games for you, which that is also improv. I mean, that is improv, yes, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But the skills that you learn as an actor to be able to stretch your craft and use it in ways that are not like, give me a location, but like using it in an actual production. And I think this is a nice, fun marriage of the two.
Yeah. I mean, well, as an actor, if you are really in the scene, in the moment, acting is reacting, which in and of itself is a form of improv, because if you aren't
Right.
open to the other person and honestly reacting to what they're giving you in the moment, well, then you're not really acting, or you're not very good at it. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. And I think too, I've been told by a few of the actors, it's been nice to do all this work, because it is exercising these different muscles. And it's, even though we're not creating theater in person, to be able to have this creative opportunity to keep the skills and the mind fresh.
Right. Absolutely.
Really nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have to wholeheartedly agree with that, because it's going to be a minute before we're back into our public arenas. And it is important to keep this artistic side, this craft honed. It can go away, as I'm learning about voice. Also, I wanted to say, I think this is really fun interaction with the audience. We're finding a way. We won't be able to hear them laugh, but we're finding a way to keep them involved and bringing you in. So you get to participate. Come and bid and make actors do weird things.
This is going to be on YouTube, by the way. This is going to be on Infinite Jest YouTube channel, and it is free to stream. And we will be interacting with you in the comments section, as we've all pretty much grown accustomed to now, whether in the Zoom chat or on Facebook Live or wherever. But it was another idea Sam had on how we can interact with our audience in this virtual space. And so we are very excited about that. That's part of what made it such a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's very attractive to me, the opportunity to be able to do that. I'm going to type in the comment section right now, the Infinite Jest Theater, and you can find this if I could spell, we're going to type it in if I can spell.
Okay.
Infinite Jest Theater with an R-E. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get the update when the show's on. Instagram, Twitter, all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place.
And prepare. It's Saturday, December 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So it will be friendly streaming for all of our friends and family back on the East Coast. Yeah, that's when it's going to go live. It's free to watch it on YouTube. Prepare. Get your Venmo account set up.
That's right.
Because that's how we're accepting the donations. And just like our Instagram and Twitter handle, it is at Ingest Theater with an R-E. So it should be easy to find, as it's consistent everywhere, I promise. And also, you could join us if you're feeling extra game or want to get that drink on early. You could join us at 4 p.m. that day for a happy hour, we're very excited to have Infinite Jest company member Doug Mattingly, who is also in An Ideal Husband, with us. He's a singer-songwriter, and he is going to be performing a handful of his songs. And then we have the lovely Janine McKay from Till the Last Bite Catering and Till the Last Sip Wine coming on to make a signature cocktail for us with Samantha, which she's very excited about.
We've got, I said Samantha and Melody. Whew, it's been a long day. Mel and I will be doing the cocktail and the mocktail. We got a cocktail and a mocktail. And you'll have those recipes out too on our Facebook. Follow Infinite Jest.
Yeah, you can find the events on our Facebook event, and there'll be a lot of information that gets posted up in there, from things about early purchasing of asks for any scenes to the cocktail recipe, happy hour, and more.
I love it. Oh, I'm so excited. This is going to be great. And you do have a wonderful cast, and it looks really great. Oh, let's give a shout out to, I just forgot Bree's last name.
Pavey,
that's right. I need to have her on as well. She's the artistic director of a couple theaters, if I'm not mistaken.
Managing director. Yeah,
sorry,
she works very closely with the Loft Ensemble and the Blank Theater.
Yes, both of which are fantastic. But she's doing all of our tech streaming stuff, which is insane in this world. In this new world, it is insane.
It is, but we are so lucky to have her.
We are. It looks beautiful. Yeah. It really does. It's really fun. Yay. I'm really excited. So come make sure and join us. So while we wrap up, I have a couple questions that we like to ask all of our guests. Do you have a favorite theater experience or a role or a show that you were in or that you saw?
Ooh.
I know this is a hard one. Everyone's like, don't make me choose.
It is a hard one. Well, especially, like I said, I often tend very much to live in kind of like the moment of now.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things that you remember really well, like, the first time you had a lead, the first time you played a villain, the first time you played a baby murdering psychopath who beats up little children.
Sure.
I've had a very dynamic stage career, from ingenue to as dark as it gets. So I think there's also certain groups, sometimes certain places, there's something that sticks with you for that. So I have a handful of roles that are dear to me for different reasons. And sometimes I think, there's always certain theater experiences that are very dear to you. Like the first time you actually see a play, the first time you see a play on Broadway.
Yeah.
Do I have a favorite though? Probably not, because the reason they're special, they're always special in different ways. So it's like comparing bananas to mangoes.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I was not able to answer that question when it was answered to me. I'm also very similar to you. I'm like, what am I in currently, or what did I do last? Is probably the answer, because I'm involved in that, in that experience at that time. And you're right, they all have different reasons why they're special.
Definitely.
All right, in the opposite way then, do you have a crazy debacle that has ever happened? Maybe something goes wrong in a show, or a show that goes wrong?
Yeah, that's one of the, well, I was going to say fun things. It is one of the fun things about doing live theater. Anything can happen.
That's right.
When was this that I was telling this, that not Natalie, that Melody was telling the story
about
frogs, which made me tell one of my stories, which is always
Yes, when we were doing the breakfast,
Oh,
Shakespeare
that's right, the
breakfast,
Bard Brunch
the
that we
Bard
did,
brunch.
which
Yes.
people should also check out because that was a lot of fun.
Yes, she's great.
Yes, you can also find that Bard Brunch link. We shared that on our Facebook page, but you can find that on Sour Grape Productions Facebook page and their YouTube channel as well.
They've
They
got a great
interviewed us
show.
about this clowning around with
Yes.
Shakespeare event. We had a great time.
Yes.
And Melody was sharing about starring as Dionysus in Infinite Jest production of The Frogs.
Mhm.
And I said, wow, that definitely tops mine. When I was in high school and did Hello Dolly, I went to a small high school in the mountains of North Carolina, and the big show-stopping Hello Dolly number, the bodice of my dress was all like Velcro, and when my dance partner went down on the wrong knee and I had to twist to sit on his knee and finish the show front and center stage with my arms open wide, when I twisted, my bodice went, and here I am with a big smile as the curtains. And
Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. And Melody, of course, was like, "Oh, that must have been so embarrassing." I was like, "It's not that it's embarrassing. It's the circumstances of being like in high school in the Bible Belt of North Carolina." I was more like upset with my dance partner who, I don't know, went down on the wrong knee like an idiot. Like So, or like when I was doing Crimes of the Heart, and my sister put her head in the oven, and I have to come in and pull her out of the oven, but she got stuck on the grill rack in the oven. And when I pulled her, it moved the whole oven stage and caused the glass coffee pot that was sitting on top of the oven to fall and break.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, for anyone who does not know, that play is set in a kitchen, and we had a broom nearby, and nice. Trooper that I was, without missing a beat, sat my sister down, went, you're okay, right? Okay, I'm gonna go clean up this glass. I know you were just trying to kill yourself just now, but
you'll be fine.
I'm gonna sweep up the glass so that nobody worries about that.
Right.
And so I grabbed a broom and swept up the glass, because you can't leave it there.
You can't leave it there. No, so she could try that to hurt herself.
No, that's all the audience would have been thinking about was that broken glass everywhere. So, there's always like, those are, probably a little bit more extreme, but there's always stuff that goes wrong. A light doesn't work, a sound cue doesn't happen right, somebody misses a line, you're trying to open a soda on stage and it sprays everywhere.
Yes.
Set pieces break, props get broken,
everything.
Costumes rip, buttons pop off.
Yep. People fall.
It's all part of the live theater experience.
That's right. Absolutely. That's why I love asking that question, because we always have some crazy story. There's so many, and we all can share in that. It is part. I think it is part of the fun of live theater, and then how we adjust to said difficulty, which I think is what spawned this idea. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this might be how I got this idea to do not Hamlet,
probably,
but Shakespeare.
Exactly.
Yeah, going like, what happens if you throw that? And also Branda likes to do fun games where all of a sudden randomly she'll just throw, in real life we're not acting or in rehearsal or doing any kind of artistic project, and then in her mind she goes, you know what would be fun? Hey, pretend that you're doing and then we do it. It's so weird. Anyway, when we come out of the apocalypse, what do you hope to see?
Real live in-person theater.
Yes.
I it's hard. I know theater will survive, right? But it's hard not to be concerned about its survival when I see so many of my friends and colleagues suffering, out of work, losing health insurance, losing their small theater companies, people that have been laid off from even like the biggest theater companies, with endowments and all kinds of funding because it's just not the most hugely profitable industry. The arts never are in this country, or probably any other. So I want it to survive and be ever vibrant and dynamic. I am also hoping that this year what's happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, a new found focus and attention to what diversity and inclusion really means in the theater, in terms of race and ability and a slew of other things, that does bring theater back improved and better, because we are better when we're all included. So
absolutely, 100%. And I think there are a lot more stories that need to be told, and can be told and should be told. So I'm excited to see that as well. That's great. In person.
Yeah. I feel like right now I don't know a single theater artist that won't walk into a theater to create their art for the first time and break down sobbing.
Yeah. I'm at the point when I just walk into Kentwood just to check on the place. That I'm like, yeah.
Just lay down in the middle of the stage and hug it,
Yeah, seriously. And I'm not going to lie. There may have been a time where I was there to check on the place. I might have done a monologue on the stage.
I
to no one.
I would have too. Yeah.
Just for myself. Yes. Yeah. And the ghost, Fred. Collette, thank you so much for coming on and chatting.
No, it was my pleasure. This. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for creating Infinite Jest, giving Los Angeles comedy all the time. It is a lot of fun. Thank you for your support of theater and new works. You're an inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you. It is mostly my pleasure. When I'm caught up on sleep, it's mostly my pleasure.
Oh, that's great. And also along the lines of what Collette was saying, I wanted to make sure, I always forget to do this at the beginning, but I wanted to make sure and acknowledge the lands on which we are on, of the Tongva people. Both Collette and I are in Tongva lands. And so make sure you have a moment of remembrance and think about where we are. And thank you for letting us be here. We will see you next week. But before our show on the 12th, you've got an Infinite Jest telethon. Clowning around with Shakespeare, where you control the hijinks. Tonight, the whole hand. Make sure and tune in 4 o'clock for the happy hour to hear Doug play and to learn how to make drinks. And then tune in at 5 for Hamlet in a way you have never seen before, nor will ever see again. And then we'll see you next Sunday. I think we've got a special guest from CMG and Fala's teacher, improv. Oh, how perfect! Improv.
That is a perfect. Yeah, that's a double header.
It's brilliant. You're welcome, Kentwood. All right. And Mel, thank you for all your comments, and we love you tons, and we'll see you on the 12th. Bye, everyone.
Bye.